Charlie. My girl, come flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. Make your bumper flip like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. You left, y'all wind up on my body, girl. Why like it's a carnival? Girl, me love the way you wine for me. Girl, your wine is so emotional. So wind up on my body, girl. Me while you come wine.
Okay, good evening. We are home. I'm so excited to be here tonight for the first live, and have a special guest tonight, which is Jean.
Yes.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm a bit wet because of the British weather.
Oh my God, don't tell me about it.
But I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, so who you are.
So my name is Jean-Terach Bavangila, better known as JT within the community. I am a mentor, a professional athlete and businessman as well, but I devote a lot of my time into doing a lot of stuff with young people. So I started an organization called the Art of Survival UK, CSE, which operates both here in the UK and in both Congos, and we do a lot of work, mainly focusing on young people and the development and empowerment of young people. We do different mentoring workshops, and we do a lot of activities and encouraging them to be the best versions of themselves, really. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Because you're actually from Congo, right?
Yes, I am, yeah, originally.
So, a brother.
Yeah. I'm from Congo. Well, I was born in Congo. My father is from Cabinda, although we have lineage that spreads right onto countries such as the DRC and also Angola, Gabon, and all of those. But I per se, I was born in Congo, Brazza. Yeah,
okay, because originally there used to be one, right? It was the Kingdom of Congo with a K, right?
So the Kingdom of Congo, it used to be, before it was colonized, it used to be 4 major countries. So you had the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, you have what's now known as the Republic of Congo, or Congo Brazza, and you had Angola and you had Gabon. And they were all one big country until they got colonized and divided.
So how was the journey? I mean, you was born in Congo, but then you moved to France, right?
Yeah,
so how old were you when you moved there, and what you experienced in there?
I was. I mean, I didn't stay too long in Congo. Because I was born in the period of a civil war, so it was very, very difficult for myself and my family. It's I don't have the nicest of memories of my time there, and even from the stories that I've heard from my family, it really wasn't a nice time.
So that was Mobutu.
No, that was after
Kabila.
They were in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh, that's true.
So the president who's still the president in Congo Brazza is Denis Sassou Nguesso.
Okay.
And there was a lot of conflicts at that time within just the people of Congo Brazza. The military got involved in everything, and my family literally had to escape. So I was just a few months old. My father had to put me on his back, and he tied a liputa, as we call it, which is a form of rag, and he tied it around him, and he had to run for like 20 kilometers just to escape.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really tragic, because as he was running, a lot of people were getting killed left, right and center. So literally a case of dodging bullets and everything. But we thank God that we've managed to make it this far.
Yes.
So we literally had to look for refuge. So I moved to Paris along with my mother. It was interesting, Paris. I don't have too much memories of it from my younger days, purely because we didn't stay too long. But finally we had the chance to come with my father and meet with my father again here in London.
Oh, that's
so
brilliant.
we were separate. The family was separated for a long period of time, but thankfully we all regathered and we're all together now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you started your adventure in London.
Yeah. Then I started my adventure in London. I'm predominantly from East London, so Hackney. Massive shout out to everyone that's from Hackney that's listening. And that's again, growing up in Hackney was a completely different experience. I mean, Hackney's changed now due to certain redevelopments, but at that time it was really difficult. There was a lot of gang activity, there was a lot of crime, there was a lot of hatred and racism as well played a part. So again, growing up in that kind of environment wasn't really good, but I'm grateful for sort of the strictness of my parents and my own personal principles, whereas some of the people that I know that I grew up with, they now got into a lot of trouble because of the environment that they were in, and a lot of them sadly passed away. A lot of them are in prison now, but because I had a different mindset into certain things that I wanted to do and I wanted to achieve in my life, I made sure that I didn't follow in the footsteps. Yeah. So
you actually you could use yourself to make that change for other people as well.
Yes. I think it's very important to do that.
Yeah, and also prevent you maybe to follow in wrong paths. And
I think for me it was a case of just knowing what you want from your life, you know, because in this time that we're living in this world, really, there are a lot of influences, many of them that are not really good, they're not the best of influences, they're very negative. So from the moment that you kind of set principles about what it is that you want to achieve in your life, then that will set you apart from everyone else, and you're very much tunnel visioned and focused on what it is that you want to achieve. And I think a large part of that came from my background, obviously being from the Congo and seeing the poverty there and the different mentality that's there. I think that pushed me on a bit as well, and coming to this country as well, I was very focused. I've seen my parents suffer for a very long time, so I didn't want to add to that. So I had a very different mindset to everyone. All my friends know, I have a saying that I say all the time, which is my father didn't swim to this country for me to be average, you know. So when you have that kind of mindset, it sets you apart from everyone else, and you can do a lot of positive stuff in the world.
This is actually like the biggest motivation that has like kids from the migration, we can say, we have every day, because we know that we have to do better, because our parents, they came here, they sacrificed a lot to give us a better future. Of course. So it's our responsibility to be better and also to prepare the way for the future generation as well. Yeah. So that they don't have to go through what we have been through as well.
Exactly.
So this is very inspiring what you're doing. So I would like to talk about a little bit about the art of survival, isn't it?
Correct, yeah.
So where is it based? Is it in East London?
So we operate around London. The base at the moment is in East London, although we're changing it to North London. But it actually started in Hackney, so where I'm from. But as I said, now we operate in the whole scope of London now. That's really good. Wherever we're requested to be. It started in Hackney. How it started was, it was actually based off my story, hence why it's called the Art of Survival. And not just my story, my father's story as well. Everything that he had to go through, and all the trials and tribulations that he went through, and that's how the name came about. Really, it's in this world that we live in, is very difficult, it's very tough, and if you don't have certain principles about you, you're not going to survive. So we wanted to teach essential stuff that you cannot learn from school, and very vital things that everyone needs to know in order to survive, especially the younger generation, because with the changes that are going on in the world, whether it be via the internet or just day-to-day life, it's very easy for you to lose your way. So the art of survival really teaches principles of surviving in all areas. And it started in Hackney. Myself, my father, and my cousin started it. Although I'm sort of the face of it, really.
Yes.
But the three of us started it, and it was really tough at the beginning to sort of get it up and running, due to the fact that there wasn't much support, really. But once we kind of pushed and got the word out there, we started getting a lot more requests, especially when it comes to stuff to do with young people. Initially it was just my father who used to get immigrants or people that were struggling that recently came to the country. He used to help them, especially if they had language barriers or they didn't have a place to stay and everything like that. My father would just get them and bring them to the house, really, which I don't think my mum was too happy about at the time. But that's initially how it all started.
Wow.
So it's just that want to give back, that endearment, to give back and to help. That's what kicked off the art survival. So it went from there to just helping people out to actually receiving donations, and from there we actually formulated a structure in which we are still using today in terms of helping young people develop. We now have mentoring programs in place. We now have psychologists as well that are also in place there to help with the mental health side as well of things. And now it's blossoming now. We still want to do more. We still want to empower more young people, certainly across London. We're now active in Islington, Hackney, and Edmonton now. So we're now going to start being active as well in Tottenham, if all goes well. Yeah.
And what's the age group?
So the age range is really diverse depending on the project in hand. So the smallest ones start from 5 years old.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, 5 years old, and we teach them principles of survival, as we call it, which are our motto, which is discipline, purpose, and consistency. And we really feel as if it's vital to teach young people this from a very young age. So we start from the ages of 5, because when a person is born, they're like a blank piece of paper. They know nothing, and it's society, it's parents, it's the environment that now fill that blank piece of paper up. So if that blank piece of paper is filled with the wrong information or the wrong way of thinking, they're going to grow up with that. And by the time they'll be older, into the teenage years, it's very difficult for you to then erase that mentality or the way of thinking and change it. So we really like to start them off at young age 5, and we help people right up until they're adults, really. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit more in depth on this topic, but for now, let's carry on with the music.
Okay.
Okay, so we're back. Obviously, that wasn't a casual song.
It was nice.
Yeah.
A bit of home. It's not
just
bad.
Exactly, just brought us back to home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you this question: how much do you think culture influences a person, like in his future and in his life, you can say?
Oh, definitely. I think culture has a very big influence on us, no matter who you are, because culture is essentially a representation of who you are. And I think working with a lot of young people, especially, many of whom the parents have sort of migrated here or in Europe, really, they've lost touch of their culture, So as a result, they have a sense of false identity. So which then leads them to certain ways, certain avenues that maybe they had no business going into. So culture is definitely a very big deal. When you know your culture, you know where you're from, it makes up who you are. I struggled with my culture for a very long time, although we're here today and we're listening to Congolese music and we're vibing and everything, and it's nice. But for a long period of time, I didn't really... it's not that I didn't know my culture, but I didn't want to accept my culture. See, knowing is one thing, but accepting is another. So there's all this negative stigma around your culture and where you're from, and people might look at you differently as well. But I feel as if you just have to accept that, because that's who you are. For example, when I was in secondary school, people would ask me, what country are you from? Never used to say I'm Congolese. I never say I'm from Congo. I'll say I'm French. You know, just because I know that I can speak French and I can maybe get away with that. But then after growing up, and especially when I went back to my birth country, Congo, it made me realize who I am, and I seen people that look like me, have the same sense of humor as me, eat the same food as me. It really made me accept my culture. So I feel as if a lot of us need to really get back to our roots and really accept our culture and love it. It's amazing. It's lovely. Yeah.
Do you think the representation is a part, like it can affect the way a person embraces the culture or it denies the culture?
Definitely. Representation is a major thing. Like I said, for a lot of us, our culture, our backgrounds, our countries, the way they're depicted in the media is so negative that you don't really want to be a part of that, which is the case for a lot of us growing up. We didn't really want to be a part of our culture. Yeah. But I say once again, it's important to recognize where you're from and your culture in order for yourself to develop a self-identity. And once that happens, you can then get your purpose in life, which is one of the mottos of the art survival. Finding your purpose in life is a very big deal, and you can only find your purpose in accepting your culture and where you're from. Really. Yeah.
Exactly, because if you don't know who you are, you might be lost. Exactly. And it might be difficult for you to follow, you know, your destiny. And
you wouldn't know where you're going neither.
Exactly.
Because you're still trying to find yourself. Yeah.
And do you think it's difficult to work like with different culture? Because, for example, the art of survival, as you said, they have different backgrounds of people there. Yes. So do you think it's something that can see as a weak point, or is actually a strong point to have different people from different cultures?
It is definitely a major strength. I think if in the art of survival, we're a very mixed bunch, so we have people from the Asian community, we have certain people who are of English background as well, and you know, people who are from African background, and people who are from sort of the West Indies as well. So we're very mixed and diverse, but again, that adds to the strength of the group, because whereas one side or one particular culture might view a certain thing as a negative, or they might view something in a particular kind of way, but then someone else from a different culture might bring a different perspective. And I would say to anyone who's in business or who has an organization, really try to make your group, your staff, your team as diverse as possible, because then without knowing, you open the lead up. For example, I would say around a year ago, we hired someone who was from Asian background, and this girl, she is amazing, like really, really amazing. And whereas we didn't, because we're not from that particular culture, there's certain things that we didn't know. So she came on board with the team and she said to us, listen, if you do this differently, it will expand your exposure like this. If you do this differently, it would really help you. So definitely do not limit yourself with just your culture, your people. Expand and try to learn different cultures as well. And you will see that it will also help you as a person. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because it enriches you. Because obviously things that maybe in your country you don't know, we don't do, you actually embrace it. For example, I was raised in Italy, obviously, so I have a Italian background, Congolese background, and I was staying in a multicultural environment. So I had friends from the Filipinos or Latinos, and actually I just embrace some stuff that they do, even if it's not part of my culture, but I just like it. So sometimes I will do things that have nothing to do with Italy or with Congo, but just because I see it or learn it, it's part of me. So it makes me like a richer person. So I think it's important what you guys are doing, because it is impact like everyone's life. And it's actually, I think it's also the future, because as you see, London is a very diverse town.
City,
so it's very impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you. How can you advise someone that want to do what you're doing? What advice would you give him?
I would say for anyone who wants to do what I do, in terms of, because I also do a lot, but if we're speaking about in terms of any sort of youth work or any sort of humanitarian work as well, because I also do stuff in the Congo as well. And first of all, I would say it's not something that's for everyone. I would say it has to come from yourself. It has to come from your heart, because it's a sacrifice essentially you're making. Because what I've decided to do is I've decided to sacrifice certain aspects of my life in order to focus on this. I have many friends who, no disrespect to them, they mean well in the sense that they try to bring me on board in certain things that they do, and I really appreciate that about them. However, my thing is, I know the kind of person I am. I know why I've been made. I know why I was created, which is something that I didn't know for a long time. When I think back to sort of my background, my history, and the way I was born into this world, and I asked myself a lot of questions like why didn't God just kill me during that civil war that I went through? He could have easily killed me the same way he killed many other people, but I came to realize that this is my why, this is my purpose, so it's something that really not a lot of people have, but it's something that has to come from your heart. You have to be passionate about it. That's one. Also, you have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice friends, you have to sacrifice time, you have to sacrifice money, especially into doing this, but you don't really think about all of that stuff because you know why you're doing it. When it's something is your passion, you don't see it as work. I'm looking at you now, and the way you're sitting there behind the mic and everything, I can tell that this is something that you're really passionate about. So you're not really seeing this as work because you love doing what you do. And that's a major key to doing this. You have to really love what it is. You really have to love this. A lot of people try to get involved in it, try to get involved in humanitarian work and everything like that, but because it's not a passion of them, they fall out of love with it. Whereas if it's something that's coming from your heart, you really you wouldn't even see it as work, and you just love to do more and to continue doing it. Definitely sacrifice yourself, sacrifice your time, and I would add on and say that you need to make a vision board. I feel as if that's something that's really, really key, not just in my line of work, but in whichever line of work that you're in. You must make a vision board, because what that does is it puts things into perspective. I might have an idea, or you might have an idea, but if that idea is not on paper or is not somewhere where it can be seen, you won't act on that idea. So definitely make a vision board of what it is that you want to do, the kind of people that you want to impact, the journey, what is your dreams and aspirations. It might just be something that you've always dreamt about. It might be a dream car, for example. If you want to get your dream car, you must have a vision board of it. You must take a picture and put it on that vision board. You must look at it every morning when you wake up, and that's what will motivate you.
Yes.
My vision board, I have pictures of my youth when I was younger, when I was still in Congo, in I don't know if I can say this on air, but in underwear, and just like ripped up t-shirts, and and that's my motivation, and that's what allows me to continue to do the work that I do as well. So definitely I would say that that's something that everyone needs to take into consideration in doing this kind of work.
So again, we are talking about know who you are, remember where you come from.
Yes.
So you know your future, your vision.
Future, where you're going.
Yeah, that's
very important.
Charlie. My girl, come flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. Make your bumper flip like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. You deaf, y'all wind up on my bar.